So Aaron, we meet again. Last time we talked, it's been some years, like 7, 8 years since Social Network, and you talked about, you know, kind of your writing process, and I'm always curious about that. And I know in Social Network you were writing alongside the book being written.
Yeah.
How did this change with Molly's Game already being out there and you having a pen and script kind of?
Well, it was interesting. What happened was, I think it was the week that the book came out. The lawyer representing the book, who I know a little bit socially, he sent me the book and he said, "Would you mind reading this and meeting with Molly Bloom?" And I said, "Sure." And I read the book and had a fun time reading the book. I wasn't expecting much when I went to meet Molly. I thought I was going to be meeting somebody who was just kind of cashing in on their brush with celebrity, and that doesn't do anything for me.
Right.
And that first meeting was just an hour long. By the end of that 1 hour, I realized that I was a fool, that this is not at all the person that the tabloids suggested to me that she was, or even that her own book suggested to me that she was. That this was a story of character and integrity, and a much more emotional story than you would expect from a movie about the poker princess, that kind of thing. That was completely different. And so in this case, the book is a character in the movie, right? She's written the book. And Charlie, is played by Idris Elba, our criminal lawyer, sort of has the same journey that I had.
Yeah.
He goes from not having very much respect for her at the beginning of the movie to giving a full-throated defense of who this woman is, and even saying that he's cool with Molly being a role model for his daughter.
Yeah.
I liked being able to, I know some people might call it meta, but I liked being able to fold in that present day experience with the book. I like being able to fold it into the movie.
Now, you're a renowned writer, and I know you've written a lot of great prose on a lot of different things. But when you look at your subjects, it's been, you know, Fassbender playing Jobs, Cruz playing Lieutenant Caffey, and Zuckerberg being played by Eisenberg. So all these male protagonists. How was it different writing for Jessica Chastain in this role, or was it any difference at all?
It wasn't any different. The fact that Molly is a woman, of course, is very relevant to the story. It's just not relevant to the writing of the story. You know, there isn't a particular way that there isn't women's dialogue and men's dialogue. You're doing the same thing. What was important to me is I wanted Molly's voice in this movie. She has a very winning and unique voice. That's why she's the one telling the story and not the filmmakers.
Yeah.
It's like the best TED Talk you've ever been to.
Yeah. And lastly, I mean, this is your directorial debut, which I've followed you, and I was surprised to even know that. I felt like you must have directed some of these other great pictures. How was the challenge of writing and, you know, changing this story up to fit the vision you have, but then projecting the vision through the directing process? How was?
Well, it's challenging to be sure, but it was a triumph of collaboration because I always like to be the least talented person on any project that I'm doing. So I was surrounded by great people who were very supportive, who absolutely got what I was trying to do, and so they were able to lend their talent to that too, and that's how we made the movie.
It's a great movie, man. Great project.
I really appreciate it. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Take it easy.
I'm Molly Bloom. Do you know about me? This is a true story.
You ran games in LA for roughly 8 years?
Yeah.
And then you ran games in New York for roughly 2.
I haven't run a game in over 2 years, not to spoil the ending. But that's when the government raided my game and took all of my money, assuming all of it was made illegally, which it wasn't. In this room, you couldn't buy your win.
I'm all in.
You couldn't buy me, and you couldn't buy a seat at the table.
Movie stars, athletes, billionaires, that's just the tip of the iceberg. You're not taking percentage of the pot?
No.
Keep it that way because you don't want to break the law when you're breaking the law.
Am I breaking the law?
Not really.
We're able to find out for sure, aren't we? Laws are written down.
You had notified millions in LA about your broken life rights.
I did.
You spent 8 years running the world's most exclusive, glamorous, and decadent man cave.
Any offers?
Guarantee the publishers certain elements, then I can get you $1.5 million.
What kind of elements? I passed.
I'm just curious as to why you passed on what would appear to be the only way out you have.
You have to use real names.
Creative differences. The law that I'm accused of breaking defines gambling as betting on games of chance.
Yes.
Poker's in a game of chance. Poker's a game of skill.
Why does a young woman who, at 22, has a gold-plated resume, why does she run poker games?
Your risk is nuts. You're gonna get blown up.
You got 2.8 million on the streak right now. That money should be in your hands.
Just how deep into the Russian mob were you? There's a new offer on the table. Complete immunity. We hand over the hard drive.
You've seen what's on those hard drives. Families, lives, careers will be ruined.
Why are you in this alone? Where are the people you're protecting by not telling the whole story?
It's not their names. I'm protecting Charlie. It's mine.
Tell me why!
Because it's all I have left. Because it's my name.